All right, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and the Union Sports goalkeeper community. We're going to have Hibernian goalkeeper coach Jon Busch on in about 10 minutes or so. We're going to be talking about blending your methodology into an established environment. This is going to be a great one, guys. Make sure you're sharing this out with the goalkeeping community. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll see you in about 10 minutes. Right now, sharing this out with the community. So, guys, if any have any questions or comments, put them in the comments section. This is going to be a great one. Make sure you're sharing this out with the footballing community. Shout out to all of you guys who've already started joining us, guys. Please put your questions and comments in the comment section, guys, for Bushy or Omar or Stan. That's right, guys. Special guest appearance by Stan Anderson from Camp Shutout. Again, guys, starting in about 7 minutes or so. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, get ready. Shout out to everybody watching us on the Union Sports goalkeeping community, guys. Remember, that's a free platform available on Apple and Google Play stores, also on mobile desktop at www.theunionsports.com. We will put all that information in the show notes. Please put your questions in the comment section, guys. That is the best way to go about it. You might even share them on the air. right. Full house over here. What's up, a lot of you guys here? I love it. Juan Cervantes, Dave Beck, Peter Falila. How do you pronounce that, Peter? I apologize. Scott Cheatham. Welcome, guys. Welcome. We're going to be starting in a few minutes right here, guys. Make sure you're sharing this out with the goalkeeping community. Also at theunionsports.com, at the Union Goalkeeping on social medias, including Instagram. It's a brand new social media network, guys, if you're not familiar. Free on Apple Play and Google Play stores. So check it out, guys. Sports-specific content for specific communities, such as goalkeeping. Everything you want about goalkeeping for free in there. So join us. Again, guys, starting in a few minutes here. Oh, some new comments. David, we're definitely going to have to put that one on the air. That's for sure. That's a great comment. I love it. Hilarious. Again, guys, starting in a couple minutes here. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage. Always make sure, guys, you're turning on notifications on your Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Union GK Sports community. Oh, my God. Look at this guy here.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, dude? Man.
What's going on?
Oh, man. Well, we got David Winter's already trolling you. So
Is he?
Yeah.
Jesus. We haven't even started yet. Good God.
Is it cold there, dude? Or is it just you just all bundled up in there?
I just got a sweatshirt on.
Okay.
This is what I put on. I put a sweatshirt on and a pair of sweatpants in the morning, and I get in and I change right away, and then I wear it home, and that's it. So
I love it, man. I love it.
I don't have to worry about. Yeah, I see that. I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about a lot of clothes now. So I'm pretty much in training gear all day long.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I mean, when we start the show, we'll talk about that, man. But that was funny when I was like, "Well, you guys have a Monday off, right?" And you're like, "This is an MLS, pal."
This is not MLS. There's no players union saying. I don't even know what the rules are anymore. There's no players union saying, "Well, you have X amount of days off per every 2 weeks or whatever." No, we're in unless Sean decides to give us off, and
Gotcha.
that doesn't happen too often. Although we have a lot of games and we got a lot of injuries right now, so we might have to take a day or two off. But like, no. I mean, it's a good thing. I love going in. Like today we were in, but literally the only people that went to the field were the goalkeepers.
Really?
Because we've got going into the game on Sunday. We were -8 players. We just lost one of our forwards to an ACL, so now I don't think we're getting anybody back for Wednesday. So now we're -9, actually -10, but I'm not going to talk about that. We just lost a goalkeeper, but I'm not going to talk about that one. But so yeah, it's like it's a mess. But yeah, so the field players just stayed in the gym today and did a recovery day, and I took the goalkeepers out. Well, not the first string, but the second, the third, and the 2 academy kids that I trained.
So Macy didn't
Omar,
train
what's
today.
up, buddy? No,
John,
Macy
what's
didn't
up?
train today. He does recoveries day after the game.
Sorry if my audio is a little bit echoey. I'm in an office here.
Do you have you don't have a microphone?
I accidentally washed these, and these are like you can't speak into them. So I'm using like my computer audio. I'm sorry.
All good.
Jesus,
Look at
how
this
long
guy.
you been doing this, Omar? Holy fuck! They let anybody into this place. Jesus. Fuck. There's no standards at this podcast.
How many times are you gonna have to beep this fucking show, Michael Magic?
Oh my God! Well, thank God we haven't. I think we might be about to get kicked off of a lot of the different streams right now, so we may have to watch that. But we'll get the show started, and then we'll probably have to
once you put Bushy on, it pretty much canceled your opportunity to sign a 3-year contract.
I forgot we were live. I'll try to clean it up a little bit.
All right, guys. Well, let's do this. Here we go. Welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from beautiful Hollywood, California. With me is a virtual all-star team of goalkeeper coaches. No 99 World Cup winner Saskia Weber, so we have a substitute filling in. We got the one and only the man himself, Camp Shutouts, Stan Anderson, Omar Zini, Pro GK Academy, and this guy who apparently is now a big-time across the pond aficionado, defending the areas and all the other UK terminology that they use in the goalkeeping world now. We got Hibernian goalkeeper coach Jon Busch. Bushy, what's up, man?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are we tonight?
This is fun, man. This is really cool. I feel like we're just we're doing a virtual camp shutout after the sessions are wrapped.
There you go. What club is it again, Bushy?
Just call it Hibs, baby. Just Hibs.
Oh, okay.
Hibernian.
Oh,
there
no.
There you go.
Oh,
wow.
My gosh.
That's all you
For
need
those
to
of you guys
say.
who are listening, Stan just put on a Hibs hat. And I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty legit. I like it's Pro GK Academy colors too, Omar. Look at that.
I like it. Wait, John,
And
how did this all come about?
It's just the
when I saw
style
the
of hat
logo.
that Bushy loves as well.
His hat coming about? That's a good question because it's a straight brim, and I don't know if he's allowed to wear that at his age. To be quite honest with you,
He's got
His
this.
hat-
Omar, could you pull that off still, or are you not? You're getting,
no, I would not.
yeah, getting to 30 now. You can't do that anymore, dude.
yeah,
leave
you
it
hit
to the
that.
young
You hit
people
that.
now.
You hit that 30 mark, and it's over. You can't have a straight brim. That's for the kids.
So before we kind of get into everything today, guys, because I think this is going to be actually a really good topic. Bushy, how the heck did this happen? How did you end up in Scotland? What?
That's a good question. So, the gaffer, Sean Maloney, is a good friend of mine, and he played in Chicago one season. Actually, not even a complete season, but we just hit it off. We were roommates on the road. We spent a lot of time talking about football. And, we've always kind of talked. I knew he was going to be a manager. I mean, just the way his football brain works, the way he thinks, I just knew it. And it was one of those people where I knew the more I talked to him, I wanted to work for him one day. And I'm very fortunate that he felt the same way about me. And so even after he left Chicago and went back and, he finished his career, played another year or two, and then went to Celtic, where he started his career as he went there as a coach. Then he went to the Belgian national team, and he'd been doing that for the last couple of years. But I knew he was always going to become a head coach, but we just didn't know when. It was kind of the assumption that maybe after the World Cup coming, but we talked literally every week. And he would send me videos or text messages saying, "Hey, go look at this game, look at this goalkeeper, goods and bads. What do you think about it? Break it down." So I would break goals down, and I would send them my thoughts on it and PowerPoints on it. So we just kind of had this rapport for a few years, and then literally one Sunday morning, I woke up to a text from him saying, "Are you up yet?" And it's the one and only day of the week I don't set my alarm at 5:15. And so I think I slept in until about 6. And I rolled over and looked at it, and I texted him and I said, "I'm getting up now." And literally he just called me. And, He's like, I need to talk to you. I said, well, I need to get my coffee first. So let's start with that. But yeah, he decided to go in on the job, and so we discussed it real quick, and I asked him what his thoughts were, and what my involvement would be. And as soon as he told me, he said, if I get the job, this is what I want you to do. And I said, I'm in, let's go. Because I firmly believe in him. I firmly believe in his philosophies, his ideas, his thoughts, how he wants to play the game. And I know he's going to be a big success, and I want to be a small part of that.
I mean, I love what you're saying right there, Bushy, because, Omar, obviously, you've got a situation right now where let's just say, you were able to establish a relationship with Steve, who's now the first team coach at LAFC, and congratulations on that result for the first team this weekend, because obviously starting the season off with a bang, no pun intended there, with those Vela goals. But how important it was to start establishing these relationships with these coaches and with these former players early, so that it helps your development and your opportunities for jobs in the future.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest thing was the fact that Steve didn't just want me to be a goalkeeper coach. And I'm sure, John, Sean is probably asking you to insert yourself when you can, but also not just be goalkeeper minded. I think for me, establishing that with Steve and him understanding, like, look, I want you to understand tactically what we want from every single player, not just from the goalkeepers, so that your voice is actually valued in these conversations. So I feel at a young age, I was very fortunate to have someone like that kind of give me a not such a narrow-minded perspective of what my role is, but actually everything that encompasses being somebody on staff, not just being a goalkeeper coach.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sam.
I was just going to say, I agree with that. I think, I've learned over the years that it's very important, the older I've gotten, to make sure people you're working with are people you trust, people you have good relationships with, people that you know their background, their history, what they're about. And again, so like I said, for me, when Sean called, it was a no-brainer. I didn't even have to think about it. Now I've been fortunate. I've had some interviews and things like that in the MLS and whatnot. And there's certain people that I would definitely work with. And there's just other people that, I would pass up just because, again, I don't know them. And when you're going into these situations, you want to work with people that are good people, but also that you 100% trust. And like I said, with Sean, I know that I never have to worry about that. As far as what Omar said, yes, it's, I focus on the goalkeepers, but I'm also involved in conversations, our tactics, how we play, defending corners, things like that, so we're involved in, or I'm involved in numerous conversations. I mean, you should listen to the conversations that we have in the coach's office every morning. I mean, because we've got a great staff. We've got some big time ex-players, a little bit of variety. We've got an Italian, we've got another Scotsman, we've got an Irish guy, we've got another Scotsman. So, just a variety of ideas and thoughts, and everybody has opinions. But at the end of the day, we're all pulling in the same direction because Sean's a gaffer and he, he's our boss. And so, but he's a tremendous man. I can't say enough good things about him. And he's a tremendous coach. And so, like I said, for me to move 4,000 miles away, and to do it literally, yes, I'm coming, was, you would think it was a big decision, but in my mind, it was one of these decisions I've ever made.
And I want to bring this up, because Stan, both of these guys are bringing up the fact of how important it is to have that relationship and to have that communication between the entire staff. Because you've been in situations in the past, I'm not going to name scenarios, where you've been on an island and there hasn't been communication between the first team coach and the goalkeeper coach or the youth team coaches or whatever. And it's definitely a different environment.
It's certainly a different environment. I think first and foremost, what we need to find out is if Dunkin' Donuts exists in Scotland.
No, it doesn't.
Because
although one morning somebody brought in Krispy Kremes and I about did backflips.
Unbelievable. That talk about starting Bushy's day off wrong. If there's no Dunkin' Donuts,
it's tough. I'm surviving, but yeah, what I would not give for a good Dunkin' Donut coffee and a good Dunkin' Donut donut, it would be fantastic.
See, this is why Omar couldn't take a job in Europe, man. No In and Out over there, right, Omar?
Oh, there's definitely no In and Out over here.
no fucking In and Out. You know, when you're on an island, we're already on an island as a goalkeeper guy, if you will, and you feel in many ways alone. And so when you are in a staff that doesn't necessarily in one way or another communicate, whether it's tactical or whether it's just simply after training or what have you, and just think that those 16 of 18 or 23 of 25, whatever it may be on your roster, it can be a lonely place. You certainly try to inject yourself where you can, and without a doubt, people that if you will specialize in goalkeeping can be managers. I mean, one of the great ones I think is Bobby Clark, who spent time at Dartmouth and Stanford and Notre Dame and did an unbelievable job and won a national championship, and is a goalkeeper, and many, many, many others. So the way we all see the game has value. And so just because we do different things doesn't mean we don't provide quality value as it relates to perspective. And so those, the Bushy's in a great environment with Coach Maloney in the sense that, he feels integrated, and that's fantastic. And sometimes, the reality is those relationships evolve, and the relationships can evolve for the better, and the relationships can sometimes, not evolve for the better or go in a different direction. But frankly, it's a fantastic opportunity for him, and it's bullshit that all the other many of the other MLS teams didn't bring in somebody that is extremely qualified for the position, and then B, would have executed in a wonderful way in the sense of what perspective a guy who has 21 years behind him, what an old man he is, in the sense that he's a top 5 also in most every category in the league. I mean, that brings something. Look, Kevin Hartman does a great job. Aiden Brown does a great job. Those guys are fantastic dudes. Bushy goes over to Hibs, and he's going to do a fantastic job there with a great relationship and a career that's ahead of him.
By the way, Omar, what is it? What are the language requirements on the Union Sports goalkeeping platform? I just want to see how much editing is going to have to be done.
I think we've been around long enough where our younger audience is now in high school, so I think we're good.
Okay. By the way, I want it on record that it was Stan first, not me.
Okay.
Stan first, not me.
Hey, you know what? It's funny. We actually have
you know what else I can't wait for though, Michael? I can't wait till Bushy comes back home on a visit, on a tour, and stops over in your studios or heads here to Wisconsin, wherever it may be, and all of a sudden he's in talking Scottish. I can't wait till that happens.
That's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen.
You're not going to get the accent going. Omar just threw up a question right here from Andreas, and then he goes to you, Bushy. Have you noticed any difference in how they perceive the goalkeeper coach in Scotland versus the goalkeeper coach here in the U.S. at the pro level?
Not really. Again, for me, I'm working with Sean, and Sean has such a wide range in his background, right? He was in the MLS for a little bit. He was obviously grew up in Scotland, played in England. In the last 3 years, he was working for, if not the best national team in the world, one of the top 3 and some fantastic goalkeepers. So, he's the way we play, the style we play, we want to play out of the back. We want to play a possession style game. And so, playing with their feet is very important for him and our goalkeeper. So we do spend a lot of time on that, but it still always goes back to the basics, and I don't think it's, I don't think it's any different in the U.S. really compared to Scotland or anywhere else. I mean, you got to save balls. You got to catch balls. You got to dive. You got to jump. And your meat and potatoes is making saves. And so, there's minor little things, to be quite honest, dealing with the wind and the weather over here, is one of the things, that I had to get used to. It's kind of like the early days in Chicago, and early in the season or late in the season, the wind could really be whipping, it rains pretty much every day kind of thing. So minor little tweaks here or there, but, I'm very fortunate. I've got 3 first-team goalkeepers, and then I've got 2 academy goalkeepers who train with us. And they've all been very open-minded. They've also been, very quick to want to chat about it, and I ask questions to them. It was not a situation where I came in, especially in the middle of the season, going, well, I know what I'm talking about, and you do it my way, or it's a highway. There's things that, minor little things, technical and this and that they do different. So I want to learn from them. I want to discuss things with them. If you look at what I have, I've got our starting goalkeeper is Matt Macy, who's English, 27 years old. He's had a very good run the last couple of years here with Ibs. My backup is kid Kevin, who is 23 years old. He's Polish. He got his first 2 starts of his career here a few weeks ago. Our third string is either 30 or 31. He's a Scottish kid, very technically sound. And then we've got 2 young academy kids, 17 and 18. So I've got a little bit of a range, age-wise, but also, little different styles. I mean, for instance, Matt's pretty technical. Mitchie, our third string, is very technical. And, and Kevin is, Kevin is an unbelievable shot stopper. He's very big on, I call it the Schmeichel catch, where he wraps his arms around them, around the ball. So, little things like that. Again, I'm not going to come in and say it has to be done this way. He's very good at what he does with that catch, and it's very successful. So, I'm going to adapt to that as the goalkeeper coach. And every day it's conversations with these guys, and every week I'm talking with Matt, making sure he gets what he needs, making sure he feels comfortable going into the games. I mean, it's crazy. We were talking about the other day in the office. Last week, going into the Celtic game, last week was the first week since I've been here that we had a full week of training. Since I landed on a Thursday and I took my first session on a Friday, we have played literally every weekend, every midweek, the entire time. And I think that's, I don't know.
So your guys' schedule is kind of like the championship, like in England, where it's like you guys are just playing games nonstop throughout the week.
Yeah. Yeah. We had some cup games thrown in there, and that's why we've also had some league games thrown in there. But yeah, I mean, last week since I've been here, and I think I'm on week 6 or 7, I don't even know anymore. But this was the first time we literally had a full week of training.
Wow. Omar, it sounds like college, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I can't imagine. But that's the point, though, is that you have to have quality from top to bottom in your goalkeeper union. Yeah. And especially at the club like that, when you have those big games, the opportunities for those guys to get their games midweek, the guys who are number 2s, they still have to take every single session as if they're going to be a starter no matter what, because those games are coming in so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stan, before we kind of move on to the topic right here, Bushy brought up a really good point in regards to having those academy kids there. Obviously, when you were with Chicago Fire, you had some great, young players as well, and then, working them in with the first team or whatever. Do you have to be careful when you're coming into that type of an environment to make sure that the pros aren't suffering by bringing in the younger players there?
Yeah, but everybody's been there. And so when you're an advocate for somebody, I think everybody appreciates that and understands it. It goes back to what Bush is talking about with Maloney. He's got a good relationship in that regard, that he's going to trust whoever he might bring in is going to keep the standard, or, at least help the standard, hold the standard, whatever term you want to throw in there. But it's important to have those guys see that. And the earlier you do it, there is no magical age to it. So, I mean, look at Gaga and Beckham and Lopez and Emmings, and, we could go on. with the new blood that's come into the league. You know, those guys have gone in, and I think the bigger part is mentally how are people managing them prior to entry versus really what they're doing in, because they're going to have to acclimate. The speed is just going to be completely different for what they're used to. But you know, you give them a few sessions a week, and they're gonna be able to hold. And I think goalkeepers also are gonna, you know, the pro goalkeepers are gonna take guys like that under their arm and help them along. So, you know, you don't just give that to anybody. You know, the Kyle Orchus of the world and Jamison Yoders, and obviously the Gagas and Sawyer Jackmans with the fire window of time, and Charlie Lyon, you know, those guys earned those opportunities. And, you know, they get that shot and run with it. The door's open.
Yeah. You know, I want to move on into the topic right here, because I think this is actually a really important topic. And Bushy, a lot of young coaches, and Omar can attest for this, and you feel free to step in, Omar, if you want. But the young coaches, they think, oh, you know, my end goal is to coach in Europe, and they kind of think that there's this magic wand that they go to Europe, and now all of a sudden they're the best goalkeeper coach in the world, right, Omar? Right, Omar?
I think again, it's your goal, obviously, to get to the highest level. And obviously, I think in Europe, they've been around long enough and they've done things right for so long that they've established that separation. So I think for coaches, I think that, to John's point, and I think what John has always been known for really is the meat and potatoes. No matter where you go, the meat and potatoes always stay the same. You get paid to keep the ball out of the net, and there's ways to get that job done. And of course, there's different ways, like John is saying, in terms of like the Schmeichel catch or the Danish catch, and like there's ways to adapt your mentality and how you see the position to how other people have been taught all across the world. But at the end of the day, like you said, there's no magic wand that all of a sudden you go from the MLS to Europe and you have to change all these things and kind of redefine who you are as a coach. When in reality, it's all more or less the same. You're just adapting to the new people that you're seeing. At the same time, too, you might realize there's certain things that were taught in different parts of the world, and you see that and go, oh, maybe that's probably the most effective way to teach that technique. I never saw that. Thank God I was exposed to it. Now, how can I, readjust how I frame that coaching point so that I can adopt those different things and then adapt with the style of play. So like you're saying, I don't think that you change yourself completely. I think it's just a small adjustment based on who you have in terms of personalities, but also too, you have to have a strong foundation and a strong belief in what you teach as a coach.
I love what you just said right there. And Bushy, obviously, coming into an environment that's an established environment, like a Hibs, with Sean had already developed a culture there at the club and everything like that. You have to find a way to bring in your methodology, but still honor the way things are being run at the club. You can't just go in there and say, oh, this is the way I want to do it, right?
No, for sure. Like I said, I mean, especially coming in when I did, it's different, I think, when you have a preseason, and you have time. I mean, I literally, got off a plane on a Thursday and my first session was Friday, and they're in the middle of the season. So it was, it was them getting to know me just as much as me getting to know them. And I wanted to come in and make sure they understood, it's an open door policy. I want to have discussions about goalkeeping with them. I certainly do not have all the answers. I have ideas just like they do, but I wanted to be us all collaborating together, because at the end of the day, whoever's in goal for us, we all want them to be successful. And if they're successful, most likely the team's successful. And that's all that matters. And so, like I said, we're still getting to know each other even after 6-7 weeks. And that will continue to grow. But I think we built a very good basis. And again, like I said, and I think part of that is because, I wanted to come in with being open-minded, but also letting them know that, I want their feedback. I want their, if they like something in training, great. If they think something is terrible in training, I want them to tell me that too, and how we can improve it or how we can change something. So we collaborate on our sessions quite a bit.
Go ahead, Omar.
No, I think, by the way, I call you John. Bushy's probably the nickname that most other people use, but I'll call you John. But I think you make a really good point there. I think it's the word you use is collaboration, and I feel like.
Hold on, Omar. You've known Bushy for a while now. Like you don't feel comfortable calling him Bushy yet?
there's certain nicknames that
Mr.
people
Busch?
that I have to feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable yet to say it, but
You don't feel comfortable calling me Bushy yet? Oh my goodness.
I know you, but I don't know. It's just there's nicknames are always a tricky one for me because I'm like there's just like that level of friendship that I feel like you have to have, and like we're friends, but like I don't know if I'm there yet to establish to say that. I don't know.
There yet. I mean, Stan makes up his own nicknames for me, but that's a different story. But
Speaking of tours, we've gotten a tour of Stan's kitchen.
I put Stan on mute. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Stan's hungry. He's going for a snack right now.
That's not me going for a snack.
Mr.
Busch, Mr. Jon Busch. Sorry, that's not me going for a snack.
Here we go.
Busch, I think so you make a good point. I think about collaboration, and I think that's, in my opinion, whenever you step into a new role or whenever you deal with different personalities, whether it's academy kids coming up or guys who are just being signed or loaned out. That word collaboration for me offers a perspective of I'm not just going to sit there and tell you what I know and I'm going to throw everything at you and this is we're going to deal in absolutes. That's not how it works. Collaboration leaves room for you to realize, okay, I'm going to share what I know, but also I want to know what you know because maybe there's something that you learned across the way from your experiences, from a coach or from your own playing experiences that I may never have probably thought it, but I've never been able to articulate it the way you've articulated it. But you have to have that collaboration and give those guys and offer them the platform to speak. And I think that to your point of stepping into a new role like this, that collaboration is huge because you get to know the personalities and that really helps you expedite those coaching lessons a little quicker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of that, Stan, one thing that Omar just said right there in regards to all these prior experiences, I think that's one of the mistakes that a lot of young coaches make, regardless of whether it's the professional level or the youth level or whatever, is they don't honor the prior experiences these players may have had before they had this coach. So let's say you're coming in mid-season like Bushy did right there, and you just go, well, it's clean slate. I don't care what happened before. I'm just focusing on the now. That's going to be tough, right? Yeah.
You just hope that there's a respect level. That's really all you can ask for from somebody that was with you, not with you, with them before. And then you step in, and I've been in those situations, and sometimes haven't been in those situations, meaning there was no goalkeeper guy or girl there before. So you're coming into a clean slate, and that has happened as well. But you just hope that there's a respect level. You don't want to, slag the guy who's there before you. I've seen that happen in journeys across the country and talking with different people and various things. And, Bushy has an unbelievable mentor in EV, and I'm sure EV has shared stories. I've leaned on EV due to my relationship with Mr. Jon Busch in the lower right corner of my screen. With all that being said, you just hope the other guy or girl who was there before, you just, you respect them, and you hope when you move on that someone comes in and respects your work and, doesn't say, hey, you have to catch this like Casper does now and tell everybody they have to, because that's how it was done before, or this is now my way. And, I may have fallen into some of those traps, even, my way or highway early on in my career, but it's very much a collaborative effort, and you want to have a working relationship with your crew going forward. And the best way to do that is to develop relationships and not, have a word against the guy who was there before you.
Yeah. Hold on, we have a very important question here from somebody here.
Oh, jeez almighty. This guy. By the way, this guy's supposed to have a job. I don't know if he actually works or not, but he's supposed to have a job running a club. So I'm not sure.
This is a dumb question. Is that your brother?
It's my brother.
That's Mr. Matt Busch.
That's Mr. Matt Busch, dude.
Not a lot of people actually know I have a brother, but yes, I do have a brother.
Oh,
he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's all right.
Kansas City.
Don't build it. Yeah, he's
Sporting
in Kansas City.
Sporting KC, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, so so he says, you mentioned how you work with the first team goalkeepers, reserve team GKs, and academy GKs. Do the other first team coaches also work that closely with the field players and coaches from the reserve? And dude, great question, Matt. Look at where
Matt. What a question! What a
question!
Wow. So he got the brains, and I got the good looks in the family, as you can tell. So
isn't that the truth?
No, that's actually a really good question, Matt. Yes, we, Sean is very big on bringing the young academy kids into the system. And, we have academy kids, whether they're goalkeepers or field players, training literally every day with the first team. Now, depending on what we need and injuries and things like that and what's planned for the session, we might get more that day. We might get a little bit less. But every day there's academy kids training with us because that's a big belief with Sean that we need to help develop these youngsters and bring them up through the system. Our assistant coaches spend a lot of time with the academy. We have two very good academy coaches, a gentleman named Steven and a gentleman named Gareth. They do a great job with them. Our under 18s are in the, I think it's semifinal of the Scottish Youth Cup this weekend. I think Friday night, actually, they play Rangers. So they do a great job with that, but we are very integrated. It's not two separate entities. It's one. And, every morning once we have our staff meeting, just after breakfast, I go into the academy offices and I talk to them, tell them what we need, how long, that sort of thing. Sometimes it's, hey, I need both your goalkeepers, but I'm going to send them back to you in 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever. And sometimes it's, hey, I'm keeping them the whole time. But we work very closely with them. And some of the times with the field, if we, with the field players, if we need more of their kids, sometimes they'll actually back their training sessions up a little bit to allow us what we need for our, the first team, and then we can send them back down to the academy there because they're in the building, they're ready to go. So we work hand in hand with our two academy coaches.
So I love that. It sounds like a great culture, over there, and Omar, I mean, you saw this kind of firsthand in regards to with Vegas Lights last year and LAFC in regards to, having the two clubs training kind of simultaneously at this, because you guys were training simultaneously, right?
Yeah, we're training at the same time, but the fields weren't. Obviously, LAFC has now expanded the facility. We have two fields across the street, which we start on tomorrow, thank God. But before, we were at the same time at Cal State LA, which is up the hill. But now, no, it's great. I mean, I'm taking part in first team trainings every day. The new goalkeeper coach here, Oka, he helps me just in terms of feeling comfortable and confident to be around the group. He gives me opportunities to speak up during training, and he'll ask me in front of the guys, like, hey, what's your opinion? So for me, as a young coach, like getting those repetitions to feel comfortable in that environment, it's everything. So I think also too, communicating with him, like he asked me, hey, which academy goalkeepers or which goalkeepers that you're working with now, do you feel have given you and shown you enough to earn an opportunity to come train with us? And I let him know, I'm like, this kid at the beginning wasn't, giving us the proper attitude, or physically he wasn't there yet. But now after about 2 months of training, I feel he's ready. So we're giving him an opportunity this Wednesday where they need a goalkeeper because we're taking the third in line to be our starter on our Wednesday match. So it's like those opportunities now, that communication, that streamlined communication is huge.
Bushy, I got a question for you. How important is it to get the number one to first buy in to your culture? Or does it really matter?
No, I think from day one, the first thing I did when I got in before training, I went, I talked to Matt, I sat with him, we talked for a while, I gave him my thoughts, ideas, and I had watched 5 games of his prior to getting over here. So I had a good understanding of him. I talked to some of the other assistant coaches about him. So I had a decent understanding. But what I wanted to do was, like I said, when I first got into the office, I brought him in early. We talked, we sat. I wanted to get his thoughts and ideas on things, how he likes training, what he likes, what he doesn't like, gave him my thoughts and opinions. And I told him, I said, it's an open door policy. It's a collaboration from day one. I want to make sure at the end of the day and the end of the week, whenever it is, that he is ready to play at his best, come the weekend. And that's the same for any of our other goalkeepers, whether Kevin's playing or Mitchie's playing or whoever, or even with the academy kids, when they have games on a Friday night, I want to make sure, part of my responsibility is making sure that they have gotten their work done during the week. And so for me, again, with Matt, it wasn't me coming in saying this is the way we're going to do things, because he's a 27-year-old who's been around. He was in Arsenal for a little while. He's been loaned a few different places. He's been here now 2 years. Has a very good pedigree, and he's very consistent and been very successful. So for me, I just wanted to kind of keep the rhythm moving forward and not disrupt it, because like I said, we are in the middle of a season, and it wasn't the time and a place to kind of come in and try to change things too much.
But Busch, I love what you just said right there, because that's about being humble, and Stan, speaking of all the gloves you've got in the background over there with the numerous, goalkeepers and coaches that you've come in contact with. I think sometimes I know myself personally have lost that and forgot that it's not about me, and think, oh, well, I really want to make an impact right now because I know I can change this kid or older player right now for the better, but I don't think about the short-term detriment of that.
Yeah, I think it's certainly a hugely important topic about what goes on between the ears. But if the relationship is good, then they're going to be open-minded to change some things you hope for the better. There are some that you're just not gonna reach for whatever reason, and you still try, but I think it's the old adage of the reality is once someone stops talking with you or stops trying to help you, that's when there's a problem. But you go in and you just try to develop relationships that are going to evolve in a positive way to help them, experience some quality results in their career, whether it be just a little bit of development or whether they become an All-American or they become a pro. They're all different. Bushy's on this wall. I was blessed to work just a short period of time with him. At the end of the day, in that window of time, Alec Khan was a consummate pro. Loved him. He's now a first team guy in Atlanta, and Bushy was fantastic. And having somebody come in, understanding they're in a short window of time there, and those relationships then continue on. All right. Yeah. And others, some evolve, some don't. Matt Persano came into a window of training camp years later, 16, I think it was. And he's a great dude and didn't make it with the Fire, but we're still in touch today. He's the number 2 in San Jose. It just depends. Some don't evolve.
Omar, I got a question for you, because obviously you're in a scenario where the first team goalkeeper coach, there was a change made, obviously, in an entire coaching staff, at the first team level with LAFC, and a new goalkeeper coach was brought into the first team, but he wasn't available for the beginning of preseason. So you were the one that was running all those activities and all those sessions. How do you handle a situation like that when you know that there's another coach coming in and you don't want to, and I don't know, maybe you do want to bring in your own methodology if it's going to be, contrasting to what he's going to do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not somebody who's like a revolutionary in terms of ideas with goalkeeping. So I think at a younger age, had I got this opportunity, I would have tried to establish my voice and tried to make them believe that I was this amazing coach. But now I think I just needed to be patient when I first got in there and recognize that, again, a new coach is coming in, but just get these guys what they need at the end of the day. And if they have any questions, and luckily for me, the group that we have, they'll, a goal will happen or a situation will happen in training, and I'm behind the goal, and they'll say, hey, what'd you see there? So then there's natural opportunities for me to engage in conversations versus me trying to step in and say, hey, this is what you should have done, this is what you should have done. When in reality, as Busch said earlier, it's a collaboration. At the end of the day, it's collaboration of ideas, collaboration of exercises, collaboration of discussions of everything. So I think the early days for me, it was just being patient and recognizing, yeah, someone else is coming in, but establishing a relationship with these guys, it happens naturally, and trying to force things in any walk of life is difficult. And I'm sure, Busch, you can attest to that. Stepping in, you do have such, I guess, just your resume speaks for itself. Let's put it that way. So it could go two ways. You can walk in and say, hey, this is my resume. This is who I am. Or say, hey, look, the resume will come up in conversation, but let's just talk as humans. Let's just talk as people. And so I would see as getting to you, Busch, you probably are more on this side, the latter side versus the former of like, hey, you'll get to know me and then you'll understand what my resume speaks for.
Exactly. It's very similar to the way I was as a player. I just went to work, and as a player, and I do the same thing as a goalkeeper coach now. I want you to respect me. I want you to learn about me. I want you to understand me through, the time and effort I put into the sessions and the thought process and how we're developing our goalkeepers and how we're preparing them for the games. And again, like I said, since I've been here, we've had games almost every 3 days. So it's taken a little time, but that's the way I like to work. And then, the rest of it will come. We've got an American over here who played in the MLS. So and he's from the Midwest. So he knew all about me. So I think he's told some of the boys a little bit about me. And so is Sean. Sean likes to remind me that I do a little something every now and again in the MLS. So, but it's, again, for me, it's about work. I want to prove myself with what we do in our sessions and how we run them, and that'll speak for itself. And by the way, stands on room 3 of his house right now.
It has been the virtual tour of Stan Anderson's house.
Are we selling the Anderson house? And we're
it's on Zillow, right?
I don't know if you have like a black shaded thing you can put up when I hold up a certain finger. Can you do that? I know you can beep things. But,
oh my gosh, I'll have to.
I'm in the West Wing.
West Wing now. Okay.
I love that room, by the way. I love that room, by the way. Bushy, I got a question for you before I actually want to start breaking down some film. First off, congrats on what a result yesterday. Obviously a very difficult match, but a lot of action for Matt right there. And I want to show some of those clips because some people might not be familiar with the level, and I think it'd be cool for them to check that out. But how is the league in regards to Major League Soccer? How is that seen over there? And
I tell you what, it's I mean, so the guys know about the MLS. There's a few of them that have played in the MLS that are over here. So they know about it. This league is very physical over here. It's high press and it's in your face. I mean, the crowds are unbelievable. Again, my first game. My first game. So it was interesting. I didn't officially have my work permit. So originally I could warm them up, but I couldn't be on the bench during the game. So my first game was at Celtic. So that was my literally first game on a Monday night. And so that was pretty awesome. I got a nice little video walking in there. The first one I was actually on the bench for was against Hearts, and Hearts is our derby game. It's our rival. So that was the first one I was on the bench for, and the crowds are unbelievable. Somebody asked me in an interview a week or so ago, have I had that moment where I just kind of stopped for a second? And I didn't do that a lot as a player. I think we've talked about that in the past on podcasts, but there was a moment where it was after the warm up for Hearts game. Matt had gone in, we had finished the shooting and all that, so we were starting to walk in so we could go change, and the Ibs fans were going crazy and they were singing and they were chanting, and I kind of slowed down and I just kind of like took it in for a second. I was walking by myself and I just looked around and the stadium was packed. I mean, it was 22,000 and it was so loud. And I had this moment where, I mean, I got tears in my eyes and I'm like, all my hard work for the last few years is paying off. And it was unbelievable. And for the entire game, it was like that. And it's the same when we went and played Rangers there, at Ibrox. It was the same when we were in Celtic. And it's just, again, this is nothing against the MLS, because it gave me an unbelievable opportunity as a player. But these teams are ingrained in these towns. And, when I actually live with the other assistant coaches, it's kind of crazy. It's like a bachelor house, but not a bachelor house because we're all old, but we all stay in one house, and we're about 10 minutes from the facility.
Hold on, can you pitch that idea to the Vegas Lights? Maybe they should do that too. Get a little.
Eventually, we're gonna get all our own places next year. But right now, it was just the easiest thing, and we're just in one big house about 10 minutes from the facility. But like even when we, depending on what time we get out of the facility, sometimes we'll cook at night, and other times we've got this one great little takeout place that we always hit right in the small town, and it is hysterical because when we walk in there. If we haven't had a great result or we didn't play well, the two ladies behind they just give us a look.
Oh my God, it's like Ted Lasso. It's like Ted Lasso.
They'll give us their opinions. It's hysterical. It is awesome. Like we actually went in tonight on the way home. And the one wasn't working, one was, and she was like, the other day, we liked it. I'm like, okay, can I have my stromboli now? But it's really cool, but it's so ingrained and so embedded. That sometimes we have to take taxis to certain places, and it's the same thing. It's constant conversation about the team. Everything revolves around the team, and it's really cool. It's really cool because it's football nonstop.
Well, Omar, whenever you were going for your number 7 at Jersey Mike's over in downtown LA, did they do the same thing?
They don't even know I exist. But I just want to say, just to Bush's point, I think, for example, the same situation, our goalkeeper coach didn't have papers figured out, and they gave me the opportunity to warm up the guys in a preseason match in the stadium. They allowed like 6,000 people in there, but the 3-2-5-2 was going crazy. It was like right behind the goal that we were warming up. And it was a moment where I just sat there and I kind of just took it all in. And to Bush's point of like, we work very, very hard as coaches, like to put session plans, that's a lot, but to follow up with every individual person and show them video, like all that takes time. And then there's some moments when it just becomes a job. And there's moments where you kind of have to sit back and really absorb and appreciate everything. And I stopped there for a second after warm up and I just looked at the fans that were going crazy. And I just said, oh my God, like this is probably like the best day of my life. Cause I'm like, this is something I worked so hard for. And it was, so I just wanted to kind of like, since you were on that topic, it's just like the days go by so fast and the sessions go by so fast and you look back at it and sometimes you have those moments to really let it sink in and it's special.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd add to that is there are moments here where it's unbelievable. It's not like it is over in Scotland, but there are cities in this country that are making positive steps in those directions.
Absolutely.
And that is huge. And, one thing that I don't know of anything other than to say that really pisses me off is that, I'll talk to some kids at times and ask them who their favorite player is, who their favorite goalkeeper is, or what their favorite team is, whatever. And so many still that don't really have much knowledge about football will still say they follow the Premier League or this league or that league. And I really get into them about following our domestic league because that passion has to come from somewhere. And it's happening in some cities, and Bushy lived those as a player, and being both a target when he's throwing balls at ball boys and other things, that those cities are just they're doing fantastic things, whether it's Seattle or Portland or so LAFC and the 3-2-5-2 and Minnesota with their wall, and that culture is coming. It's going to be a long, long time before it's like it is over in Scotland or pick another European country, but it's happening. I would hope that it would even happen at a greater clip in our lifetime, but there's some unique stuff going on here as well. I love that. That culture's huge.
Well, I want to start bringing up some of these clips right here. So this is from Celtic Hibs. Do you pronounce it Ibs or Hibs?
Hibs.
Hibs. Okay. Just making sure right here. So this is Matt Macy that we've just been talking about.
Yeah. By the way, Matt Macy is 6'7".
Jeez.
6'7"?
Yeah, he's the opposite of me.
Okay.
But John, question for you then, since we're on that. I mean, obviously there are goalkeepers who are different sizes, so like they have different, let's say, foot saves, or like how De Gea does it, right? Because it probably takes a little longer to get to the ground. So have you had it a little bit? You're learning how these taller goalkeepers play, or have you been around enough of those like profiles, physical profiles, to kind of know what their default habits may be?
Well, I know this is a shock to believe, Omar, but there's not many 5'9" goalkeepers. So I've been around more taller guys than I have smaller guys. I know that's hard to believe, but no, I mean Matt is very agile. He's very explosive. He's got great feet movement wise. So he does a lot of things that somebody that's not 6'7" will do, as far as shot stopping and things like that, and movement. So he's not this massive 6'7" kind of lumbering goalkeeper. He's very agile.
Yeah, I want to play some clips from a tactical standpoint in regards to Matt here. So I want to go back to this one right here. I don't know why I'm singing. And all right, so here's something that I think a lot of young kids don't recognize, Bushy, and everybody else feel free to chime in as well too. Matt recognizes right here in this moment right here. It looks like this is a simple moment, but he's recognizing the fact that everything's too tight. Everything's too tight. So he's commanding and now asking for everybody to give him width. So he's dropping back to create depth in order to allow them to start playing out of the back. I can't tell you how many young kids would just bowl that ball to that dude that's standing right next to them, and it's just a disaster.
Yeah. No, I mean, and actually, we were cutting these up today, so this is some of our conversations tomorrow. But again, we want to play out of the back. We want to play now. Doesn't mean that he's got to play everything. He has a green light to look forward. And we tell him. Especially for instance with Celtic, right? Celtic keeps a very high line because they go pretty much man to man in the back with their two center backs. And so, for us, it was always a conversation of, if you see something up top, man to man or whatnot, or you can put it over the top, go for it, or even, on the outsides, because there's a lot of space on the outsides. But it's up to him. In this case, we do want to play a lot out of the back. We do want to play possession style games. So, and we've talked about this, and not just his first role, right? But does he have options? When he gets the ball, does he have options? And that's the biggest thing. Where can we go with it? So it's not just kind of throwing the hand grenade to the first guy and saying good luck. It's what are we building off of this first distribution, and does he have options to continue to play?
What I love here too, and Omar, I don't know if you want to add on to this right here, but after this ball right here, this immediate support position that he takes, dropping back right here. And again, for the young goalkeepers out there who are watching this or listening to this, like these sound like not the most exciting actions, but these are the most important actions, especially when you're talking about a massive game against a huge team like this. You can't take any small little chances right here.
No, and again, with all our scouting and everything, we know that as soon as we play this out, they're coming at us after us. They're high pressing. So we've got to have options. Matt's got to be an option to maybe get it from this side and switch it to the other. So he knows in these situations, he's not a fan. He's not just an innocent bystander. He is another option in case we need him. So
it's on the deck. It's on his front foot. He then obviously, as you said, creates some depth. He's not just going back to his hole. He's creating depth in case he's a release. I mean, it's so simple, yet look at that. I mean, there's no bounce to that ball at all. It's across the floor. It's just quality.
Yeah, and I think another thing too, and to what John just said is like there are moments where you're probably not even going to be getting the ball, but just being a decoy opens up different channels and maybe a little bit a second or two of a window for the person receiving the ball.
Yep.
And I think that's where a lot of young goalkeepers, like we had a situation here where our right back or our right center back turned towards the goalkeeper, and our goalkeeper didn't feel comfortable stepping out of the goal and asking for the ball back. It was really close to the end line. And I said, hey, even if you don't want that ball, what's going to happen as a striker is now I'm caught in two minds. Do I step to the goalkeeper who's probably doesn't want the ball? I can't read your mind. But he thinks you want it, or do I stay with the right center back? And at the end of the day, like, you want to cause a little bit of confusion, cause a little bit of nuance in the striker's head versus giving them one path and one thing to really think about. And again, if that's the style of play, how is we as coaches, based on those tactics, how can we implement that into training to get our goalkeepers those familiar pictures over and over and over? And again, that's understanding what the coach wants from your goalkeeper tactically, so you can draw your sessions around that. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be days where it's technical isolation, where the center back turns back and they give you a one-touch ball clearance. That's technical isolation. We're trying to get one-touch clearances. But then it's tactical isolation of, okay, the ball got swung from the right back to the right center back, and you're realizing there's two guys pressing. What's your move from that point? And I think in this situation as well, it's getting those kind of choreographed movements over and over and over with a little bit of nuance in there, but at the same time, the goalkeeper feeling that they're a constant contributor at all moments and always locked into the match.
Yeah, I want to move on to after this right here. So I want to move on to a play that's a little bit more. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I think it's right. It's right here. Okay. So I think this was a great play. And Bushy, I mean, you probably went through the clips today, so you're probably very fresh in your mind right here. But I think this is in the 38th minute. I think it's Leo Abadad. He dribbles inside. It's a slip ball to Daisen Maeda. Do you pronounce it Maeda? Maeda?
Yes.
Japanese guy?
Maeda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maeda. Shifts across, so Macy shifts across, disallowing the angle, and forces a player into a difficult area that makes the play to affect the low hand. Let's just play it through so everybody can see, and we'll walk it through for the audio people. Right here, the slip ball. Macy comes out. Great aggressive play. Good. I mean, that's massive in my opinion, big time.
Yeah.
Affecting the play.
Yeah. You know, and when I first got here, you know, I mean, again, Matt's very agile for as big as he is, you know. So now you think about it. He gets off his line very quickly here. And again, being 6'7", he's going to take up a lot of space, you know. But one of the little key things that we discussed was in the early days when I got here, you know, he was very good at getting himself into these positions, but he wouldn't keep his body square to the shooter. So something would turn, whether it was upper half or lower half. So balls were kind of get through him, you know. So we spent some time working on keeping his body square to the shooter. So when it does hit him, you know, it's going to go back in the direction past the forward. It's not going through the goalkeeper. So as you can see, like, he does a very good job, staying on his feet, all right, because the forward's very quick, all right. He's got the ball at his feet, so he's very patient. And when that opportunity, that longer touch comes, that opportunity, boom, because he's 6'7", you know, he can get a hand to it. And he does well. He doesn't come flying out where he's not in control, and you know the player can dribble around him or you know pass it through him. He's quick, but he's under control, and that allows him to now readjust and then eventually get a touch on the ball.
I mean, this is massive. Omar, did you want to step in?
No, I think again to Bushy's, what he just said there is super important. Is like, there are sometimes guys who are this profile, this frame, and they don't maximize that frame. And I think, like you're saying, stay square. Now you're keeping your body as big as possible. And also, too, I call fast approach, slow arrival, where like that first movement is as quick as possible. And if you feel like you're not going to be the first person to the ball, you have to break down your feet so that you're not in out of control motion, so that digging the ball off the striker's foot is more of a calculated versus a guess. And I think he comes out quick, slows down, stays square, and then he's able to actually get that hand down because he's in a controlled setting.
Yeah.
I don't know about
if
you can back this up a little bit, Mr. Magid.
Sure.
and Mr. Zini and Mr. Busch. If you guys possibly are teaching this, I don't know. But if you push this through, and if you can pause it in a moment, right? Go ahead. Now, for me, he's inviting the near post, which I love. And I don't know if this is being done on purpose by Matt, or if you're having him do it, Bushy would have you, but I think it makes the goal smaller. In this case, when you watch that through, his approach is more of a step, if you will, which is like an acre in goalkeeping, but taking away the far post, and he gets this striker down where he wants the striker to be, which is in a bad, uncomfortable spot. And now he's able to do things right here that he wants to do while still keeping the goal small. I think it's a critical movement by him versus the old adage of leaving it up to the manager saying, don't get beat at the near post. That ball gets slotted, and who knows? That's a 1v1 situation that none of us want. But I don't know. I think that's a big moment for me.
I love the fact that he's affecting, and this is something, Omar, that I know you've always brought up in regards to manipulation, is like manipulating the movements of the players to go into an area that you're going to be more comfortable in. And by coming out there, he's now affecting the play, forcing him to go that direction, which is a much easier space to contain.
I mean,
Can you talk
sure
about
Busch
that
could
at all
probably
with him, Bushy?
attest a little bit more. I'm sure you can attest a little more.
Honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. No, Stan. I know that that's something you've taught. I think it's just more. That's what happened. Especially from his starting position a little bit. So that I'm just gonna be honest. No, we don't talk about that. So it just randomly happened. It randomly happened.
Yeah, I mean, to that point too. I mean, there's so many different layers to this one. I mean, the slip ball through it for our goalkeepers. Our goalkeeper coach that was at Galaxy back in the day used to call it the 70-30. As is 70% in your favor, 60-40. We do those kind of in isolation. But Andreas, who just actually commented, to his point is like where his starting point was, and when we train with a full tactical, breakdown is that if you have, let's say, enough goalkeepers to have a runner central, and then have a runner going underneath. The goalkeeper in this way, Matt, has to be respecting this space. So his initial starting position is more central, just in case that ball gets slipped into the runner is going centrally here, or the striker takes it inside and strikes it. Sometimes I notice in sessions that I watch, people are already lined up in this area more towards the left where that near post is already covered, just because it's more of an announced service because you're working on those balls. So I'm sure, Bush, you guys work on these things in training where you have multiple options and multiple outcomes?
Yeah, no, for sure. We do that quite a bit.
Yeah. Omar, how are you doing on time? I know you have to get out of here. You have to get
to I have to hop off. We have a staff meeting before our training session in a little bit. So the second team.
Real quickly.
So I finished my
real quickly, Omar, before you go, I know that there's some new developments in the union, and this will be coming out right when we're announcing this and everything. So could kind of tell everybody, give a little bit of updates in regards to some of the new features.
Yeah, no, real quick, we kind of repurposed the feed section in the app. So now we actually have job postings. So you have volunteer assistant jobs, you have director of goalkeeping jobs, academy roles. So we have that as one of the sections in there. Then you have coaches. So coaches can actually post their resumes on there and their availability in terms of location. And then you also have camps. You have stuff like stands where it's residential. You actually stay around for more than just one day. And you have day camps. So you actually have those three areas in the app now in the feed, where coaches from all over the world can post their content on there or post their availability in sessions and camps and job postings. But yeah, we're announcing that tomorrow. So if you're new to the app, you'll see it for the first time. And if somebody who is on the app, you'll see it for the first time as well.
Love it.
And it's all GPS based.
It'll be GPS. Yeah. You can, when we post it for you, you'll send your stuff to us, and then we post it, and we can actually say that users from this location will only be able to see it. Or if you want a stands camp, you'll get internationals all the time. But for Camp Shutout, guys and girls from all over the world.
There was a little bit of a reason that I wanted that to be thrown in there. Is that's because I was going to say that Camp Shutout is one of the camps on there, guys, and you got to check it out. Look, if you're talking about residential camps, you never know who your coaches are going to be in the future in regards to the culture that's built there, in regards to people learning all about each other. You're talking about two coaches right here who worked at Camp Shutout, who are now, one's coaching in Europe at a massive club, and another one is coaching one of the biggest clubs in MLS. And that's the type of people that you're going to get at Camp Shutout, guys. So you got to check it out. You got to come to the big show.
Look how bored Bushy is right now.
It's 9 o'clock. I've been up since 5:15. So
all right, we'll
finish
up on Stromboli. He just wants to go down to the local place and get a Stromboli.
I'm thinking about the ice cream I'm about to have when I go down after I'm done with this. That's what I'm honestly thinking about. A little dessert time.
Well done with the app. Well done, Mr. Madge.
Thank you. No, it's all Omar. Omar's
well done, Mr. Zini.
Collective. But okay, I gotta go, guys. Bushy, good luck with everything. Good to see you.
All the best.
All
right. Take care, Omar.
Bush,
see you, pal.
Bush, you got time for one more clip? You got time for one more clip?
I got nowhere to go, buddy. I got nowhere
to
go. Kitchen, so.
All right, let's do this here. So I want to play this next clip here. All right. Oh, look at that. Look at the excitement there. Not this one. These are all good plays. But I don't want you to be here all night. So all right, here.
Yeah, Matt played very well. He's been very consistent. I know what this one is. Yeah, this is a double
the
save.
João
Yeah.
Pedro.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So basically, what happens is João Pedro dribbles outside, plays the ball square. It's intercepted by you guys, but I think it falls to Abada. He's slightly out of position as he's coming across, and here's where that 6-7 frame comes into play. Quickest down, foot save, but it's the recovery right here that I think is massive. So let's kind of break it down from the top right here.
Yeah, and this is something that him and I have talked about a few times now, and we're working on it. He has a little bit of a habit of when that, whether it's a wider cross or even I call this kind of an intermediate cross. Now it's into the box. He shifts a little bit. See how he's still moving to the near post there, and he does that on crosses a little bit, and it's something we've been working on, and it's going to be a work in progress. But yeah, that last little movement, if he stays where he is, and doesn't take that, he's in a much easier position to now move left in this situation. But it's a little bit of anticipation. It's a little bit of just still movement. I got to get him a little bit more patient in where he is. But I mean, it's a fantastic double save. The first one down there. But like you said, his ability to get up and basically just throw himself. I call it a scramble play. It's similar to hockey. Pucks in the crease and the goaltender's just scrambling, and that's that's what Matt's doing here. And again, he's 6'7", so he's going to take up a lot of space when he gets there. And then Porto, our center back, decides to go give him I think he gives him a chest bump here. I mean, that's what it meant to the boys yesterday. It's
is he Scottish?
Porto?
No, your goalkeeper is he Scottish?
Matt is English. He's English.
Okay.
I
was going to say one thing about this play right here is as he's coming across right here, I can't tell you how many young goalkeepers panic in this scenario. And they just default and they just throw themselves, as opposed to, it looks like, obviously Matt's slightly out of position, but he still moves to still try to improve his position and cover the space, as opposed to just leap, and have the ball slotted underneath him.
He's using his footwork to get across and cover as much distance as he can, before the shot's taken, and then, like you said, makes a first foot save and then gets up and makes a scramble play, and then Porto decides to come over and give him a chest bump. So, but that's
those guys who don't. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say for people out there who want to check this out, this is also near the end of the game, and that's why it means so much, because we're talking about.
Yeah, this is really close to the end of the game, and again, for us, it's a huge game, but it goes back to what we started this conversation about, whatever, an hour and 15 minutes ago, whatever it is the culture Sean's building and the belief and the camaraderie amongst the players. This is what it means to these guys, and this is what it means to us. And to see not just Matt doing this, but to see two other guys, they're on the ground trying to block it, and Porto going up and giving him a chest bump after it. Like, right there, it tells you the spirit of this team and this club and how much it means, and that's what it's about. You got two guys on the ground trying to block it. You got Matt throwing himself. You got Porto in there. It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Good.
Stan, anything you want to add on the play?
Nothing on the play. I think he comes close to making his goal even bigger in the early moment of this play. Your goal's big enough as he's coming here right now. And being 6'7", he can keep his goal 8 yards. He doesn't need to make it 9 yards.
No, exactly.
But I think he does, whether he's 6'7", 5'9", at the end of the day, he does a great job of getting up and down and then being brave in the last moment. I agree, Michael. The last moment here is the bigger one. No field player, outfield player, no forward, whatever, likes having a goalkeeper come at them this way. I think he puts himself in a block position, De Hay or whatever people want to call it nowadays. That guy has a crack at a different level, and who knows what happens. You get beat over the shoulder or take it in the chest, who knows. But when he does this, I think any striker's like, I don't want to see that. I don't like to have that in front of me. And then you're 6'7" on top of that. I think he really imposed himself in that second action.
Yeah. And he's going aggressively at the play as opposed to as opposed to an defaulting into a block right there, basically opening up the entire gap for the goal to just be placed in right there.
Yeah, he's throwing himself at the ball. He's not just getting across his goal. He's throwing himself at the ball.
Yeah.
It's really how Slonina made a name for himself, I think, in one moment in the academy where he flew across the goal and really, really threw himself hard at a similar type shot, less traffic. And people were like, damn, and he's it was shortly after that and shortly after a trip to Europe as well that he was signed. So, but that was fantastic. I think what Matt did right there was outstanding.
But I got one question before as we start wrapping up right here. We're kind of getting back to the topic of establishing your methodology in this environment that's already kind of been around. The academy, obviously full-time academy that you have at Hibs, full-time coaches that have been there for a while. What is your role when you come in mid-season? Do you just go hands off, like, hey, everything's running fine, I'm not going to step in, I'm just going to observe?
Again, it's, you're not trying to come in and upset the apple cart and tell them, this is how you're going to do things and this is what we want to do and da-da-da. And the other part of that too is, like I said, when I first got here, I mean, it was get your feet on the ground and get going. And so, I've worked with the top two that train with the first team. I haven't yet got out to see the evening stuff. I need to eventually get out there. But again, the plan is I am head of goalkeeping. And so eventually we have a part-time goalkeeper coach that comes in the evening and does the little guys. I need to get with him. I need to get out there and see what it's all about and eventually put it all together. And that's what Sean wants me to do. But again, I need time to do that. Right now, it's all about the first team and our under 18s in the Scottish Cup. So, but again, that'll be us all combining and putting together, and not me coming out and saying this is how I want to run things. This is how it's going to be. Blah 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 blah. I need to understand how they've done things in the past. I need to understand what works here, what doesn't, and then add bits and pieces. At the end of the day, they have a very successful youth academy as well. Can I help make it a little bit better? And that's ultimately part of my job and responsibility as we move further. I mean, the nice thing is we've got 3.5 years to do it. So, it's a big project. It's a massive project for Sean and us and the staff, but we're excited to continue to build. And again, the more time we have as this project goes on, yes, the priority is the first team, but it will trickle down. It's already trickling down quite a bit into to the 18s and the kids that come up and train every day, but it will continue to trickle down even further eventually.
Yeah. Stan, anything you wanna add as we're wrapping up?
I can't wait to criticize the goal against Hibs and criticize the goalkeeper coach.
I look forward to it. I cannot wait. I wait for the day. You haven't made it in this world, Mike. You have not made it in the goalkeeping world until Stan puts up a video on his Instagram.
60 seconds.
Just slaughtering goalkeeper. And I have a feeling there will be a mention of the goalkeeper coach when it is an Ibs goalkeeper.
Yeah. It seemed I just gave Hartman some credit for what he did. I just may have to take a shot at you. Maybe I'll just pull up an old clip.
I won't get any credit. That's for sure. It'd be more like, oh, that must have happened under the past goalkeeper coach, not the present goalkeeper coach.
It'll be the goalkeeper coach. That's what it'll just be, the goalkeeper coach. There won't be any name mentioned.
So when is Camp Shutout Edinburgh?
Oh, Jesus. Oh boy.
That's the Long Road show. the advanced road
that's,
show.
Yeah, that's the advanced road show. Yeah. Oh, that would be interesting. Actually, that would be interesting because I have so much time on my hands. I can try to organize that.
As soon as that Scottish accent comes along, that's when we'll start doing it.
Oh my gosh, that would be.
You're gonna be waiting a long time.
Well, Bushy, honestly, congratulations, man. I mean, it's really cool. You know, obviously, we know how much work you've been putting into, you know, kind of, you know, starting this this next path in your career. Obviously, you have your other, you know, outside pursuits outside of just goalkeeper coaching, but we know how much you wanted to give back to the game, you know, and you have so much to give, both not just at the youth level, but also at the professional level. And it's just really awesome to see a a massive club like this, giving you this opportunity. And man, we can't wait to see you guys and make it in Europe, man. I know that's the goal. I know that the goal is you guys get to Europe. So
yeah, that is the goal. That is the goal. We've got a couple more games here till the excuse me, the split in the standings, and then once you get in the split, you know, as long as you're in the top 6, you got a chance. You get into that top 4, you get a chance to go to Europe, and that's, you know, that's one of 2 of our goals. You know, it's that, and it's to win the Scottish Cup. So, you know, we've got some work to do, but you know, we're gonna get after it and give it a go.
well, where's the best place for people to connect with you if they wanna chat with you more after all this?
Yeah, they can.
Other than your profile in the Union, which you need to start getting active on. Other than that, you've got an official check mark. So you do too, Stan. You have a check marks official profile too.
I have tried. I'm struggling with all the passwords and everything else. So on my end, not on your end.
I haven't tried. I have not tried. I've been a little busy. Stan's got a little bit more time on his hands than I do right now. They can find me on Instagram and Twitter at HPG_GK.
Never heard of those social media platforms. It's at Michael Magid on the Union, guys. It's at the Union goalkeeper. Honestly, guys, Stan, Camp Shutout, right? At Camp Shutout, best place.
Exactly. Camp_shutout on Instagram, probably, or find me on the Union app.
There we go. There we go.
Stan, and by the way, won't find you on the Union app, but you find him.
Email. So it's just your username and your password. That's it. Just to log on. That's all you got to do.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, I'll put you on a thread with.
You're gonna get a text in 20 minutes, Mike, saying I can't get on.
We'll do a Zoom. We'll do a Zoom session on how to do it. Even my dad figured out a profile. Even my dad.
I'll get after it. I'll get after it. Shit, if Bushy can do it, then I can do it. So.
Oh my gosh, guys! Remember, contact at insidethe18media.com if you have a guest suggestion or a topic suggestion. Shout out to everybody who said you need to have Bushy on. He's now in Scotland. Like I didn't know. Like I hadn't seen all the 17 posts a day from HPG goalkeeping. So just in case. Oh my gosh.
It's Monday. Get after it.
All right, guys.
After boys. Here we go.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. That's all the time on Inside the 18, and we are out. Later, guys.
See you, boys.